What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Sports Degenerate podcast. Today we got a betting preview for week 12. You already know how we do it if you've been following me for a while, but if you're new, I give you guys basically bets for every single game. I'll give you a game bet, I'll give you a player prop for each team, so a player on each team. I'll give you a player prop. At the end, I'll give you some parlays, I'll give you my favorite bets of the day. That's how we do it. I'm going to bang through these because there's a lot of games and it's like 4 o'clock in the morning my time. I just got off of work and I did some research, got all this done so you guys can tail these bets before the games start today. So I'm going to bang through these. Let's start with the first game. Chiefs versus Panthers. I'm going to take the Panthers plus 11.5 at minus 130. The Chiefs have only covered an 11.5 spread once the whole year. The Chiefs' win margin this year is only 4.9. So on average, they only win games by like 5 points. I know the Panthers are bad, but the Chiefs don't care about blowing teams out. They don't care about it. They're just trying to win. So I think 11.5 is too many points. Player props, I'm going to take Kareem Hunt over 77.5 rushing yards at minus 110. He has gotten 14 or more carries in all of his starts this season. Every single one, he's gotten 14 or more carries. And the Panthers are the worst rush defense in the NFL, allowing over 160 rushing yards per game. For the Panthers, we're going to go Jatavion Sanders over 20.5 receiving yards at minus 115. He's gone over this in 3 of his last 5 games. Bryce Young has really liked targeting him. And the Chiefs have an elite run defense, so I think the Panthers are going to have to pass more than they have been recently. And the Chiefs have the worst defense against tight ends. They allow the most yards, which is 74 yards per game, to tight ends. So let's head over to the next game, Vikings versus Bears. I have 2 bets for this game. I'm going to take the Bears plus 3.5 at minus 120 and under the total of 40 at minus 130. So the Bears looked better last week, and they almost beat the Packers. They should have beat the Packers if it wasn't for a blocked field goal. And the Bears are at home, which is a big thing in division games. And speaking of that, it's a division game, and division games are usually close games. And the Vikings and Sam Darnold have looked rough. They've looked rough for the last month. They barely beat the Colts. They barely beat the Jaguars. Sam Darnold is kind of looking like we thought Sam Darnold would look like, throwing a lot of interceptions. And this Bears defense is good. This Bears defense is really good, so I think the Bears keep it close. But the Vikings defense is also good. So I think it's a low scoring dogfight, division dogfight. So I don't think there's a lot of points in this game. Player props, we're going to take TJ Hawkinson over 38.5 receiving yards at minus 120. He's getting more and more playing time as the weeks go on. Of course, he's coming off injury, so they're easing him back into it, but he's getting more playing time. And the other tight end that was taking playing time away from him, Josh Oliver, is not playing this week. So more usage for him. And the Bears ranked 21st in receiving yards allowed to tight ends. So they're not very good at guarding tight ends. For the Bears, we're going to go back to this. We hit this last week. We're going to take Caleb Williams under zero point 0.5 passing touchdown. So basically, for him to not throw a touchdown at plus 175. The odds were not this good last week, but I'm going to keep telling it. I'm going to keep telling it. Of course, could he throw a touchdown? 100%, but he hasn't thrown one in 4 straight games. We cashed it last week. I'm going to keep telling it until it fails. Next game, we're going to go Titans versus Texans. Literally the same exact thing here. It's a division game. I'm going to take the Titans with the points. I'm going to take Titans plus 8.5 at minus 130 and under the total of 41 at minus 130. This is basically the same thing as that Vikings-Bears game. It's a division game. The Texans really haven't looked that good. Their offense really hasn't looked that good. Both defenses are really, really good. So I think this is a close game, a low-scoring game. And the Texans' win margin this year is only 2. They're only winning games on average by 2 points. And like I said, both of these defenses are good. I expect a low-scoring game. Player props, I'm going to take Calvin Ridley over 58.5 receiving yards at minus 120. He's gone over in 3 of his last 5 games. And the Texans do have a good defense. They don't give up a lot of points, but they do give up a lot of yards to receivers. They rank 22nd in the league in allowing yards to wide receivers. And then for the Texans, I'm going to take Nico Collins over 78.5 receiving yards at minus 110. So last week was his first week back from injury, and he didn't hit this line. But all of his healthy games before the injury, he smashed this line. So I think he goes back to being the normal Nico Collins. He's Stroud's number 1 target without doubt. So I think he has like a 100-yard game today in this game. Next game, Lions versus Colts. I'm going to take the Colts plus 7.5 at minus 125. The Colts are 8-3 against the spread this season and 4-1 against the spread at home. They keep games close, man. They keep all of their games close. And I think the Colts might win this game. I'm going to talk about that later in some other bets, but I think the Colts have a chance of winning this game. But either way, I don't think the Lions win by more than a touchdown. A couple other things here. The Lions continue to get injured. Aiden Hutchinson is out. One of their other star linebackers is out. I forgot his Anzalone, I think. I forgot his name, but he's out. They're dealing with a lot of injuries defensively. And Goff struggles against zone defense. That's one thing he doesn't do good against is zone defense. And the Colts play some of the highest rates of zone defense in the NFL. They play a lot of zone defense. So I think the Colts play it close and have a chance of winning this game. For the player props, I'm going to take Jahmyr Gibbs over 89.5 rush plus receiving yards at minus 115. This is one of my favorite player props of the day. He's gone over in 70% of games this season and over in 4 of his last 5 games. And like I mentioned, that zone defense is going to help him get more lanes in the run game, and it's going to help him get some more dump offs. So I think Gibbs has a big yardage game in this game today. For the Colts, I'm going to do Josh Downs over 54.5 receiving yards at minus 113. He's gone over in 77% of games this season and over in 4 of his last 5 games as well. And the Lions secondary is not that good. They're bottom 5 in the league. They rank 31st in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers. So I think Downs has another good game. All right, next game, we're going to go Patriots versus Dolphins. I'm going to take the points with the Patriots too, man. Patriots plus 8.5 at minus 130. It's the same thing. We have a lot of division games this week. This is an in-division game, which usually means it's a close game. And the Patriots with Drake May have been a feisty team. They have stayed in games. They have covered this spread, 8.5, 4 games in a row. 4 games in a row. And the Dolphins' offense is not what it used to be. I think the Dolphins win, but I think it's a close game. Player props, we're going to do Kendrick Bourne over 2.5 receptions at plus 110. I like the odds on this. So Kendrick Bourne last year was the number 1 receiver until he got hurt. He's coming back from injury, and he's hit over 2.5 receptions in 2 straight games. And we're getting plus money on this, so I like this bet. And Drake May is going to throw over 30 passes in this game. 100% he's going to throw over 30 passes. They've been letting Drake May sling it the last couple of games. For the Dolphins, I didn't really love any of the Dolphins props as far as player props. I wasn't really feeling it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Tyreek Hill anytime touchdown at plus 115. In most years when Tyreek Hill is doing Tyreek Hill things, you never get plus money on a Tyreek Hill touchdown. So I like this bet, especially because he's hit this. He scored a touchdown in 2 straight games. In 2 straight games, he scored a touchdown. And the Patriots secondary is not good. They rank 27th in passing touchdowns allowed. Next game, Buccaneers versus Giants. I'm taking the Buccaneers minus 5.5. I've seen a lot of pro bettors think the Giants are going to stay in this game. I don't agree, bro. I do not agree. Like, Tommy DeVito is not going to keep this close. I would agree if Mike Evans wasn't coming back. Mike Evans is coming back. That makes the Bucs offense so good. I think the Bucs put up at least 4 touchdowns in this game. Tommy DeVito is not doing that. He's not keeping up with this Bucs offense. And the Bucs are 6-4 against the spread, while the Giants are only 3-7 against the spread. So I honestly think the Bucs blow them out. Player props, we're going to take Chase McLaughlin over 2.5 extra points. So the Bucs kicker to basically kick 3 extra points. So I'm basically saying the Bucs are going to score 3 touchdowns. He's gone over this in 60% of games this season. When Mike Evans is there, it changes the whole offense. I think the Bucs put up points. For the Giants, I'm going to do Wan'Dale Robinson over 36.5 receiving yards at minus 120. For you guys that follow me, I made Wan'Dale Robinson my wide receiver start of the week. And I think he's going to have a good week because the Bucs allow the 2nd most yards to slot wide receivers. And Wan'Dale Robinson is a slot wide receiver. So I think he gets decent volume from DeVito because I think DeVito is going to pass a lot. And Wan'Dale's that like safety valve, you know. DeVito gets some pressure. He's going to dump it off to Wan'Dale. So I think Wan'Dale has over 50 yards in this game, 100%. Next game, we're going to go Cowboys versus Commanders. I'm taking the Commanders minus 9.5 at minus 125. I also think the Commanders absolutely destroy the Cowboys. Before I get into the reason why, The Commanders are 7-3-1 against the spread. The Cowboys are only 2-8 against the spread. 2-8. I think this is a bounce back game for the Commanders. The Commanders, tough loss against the Eagles last week. They're going to come back, be angry, and destroy this Cowboys team. Another narrative that I like for this game, Bo Nix has been playing really, really good lately. There's been a lot of people saying that Bo Nix should win Rookie of the Year. I think that this Commanders coaching staff, they know this is an easy matchup and that Jayden Daniels can exploit this matchup. I think they're going to let Jayden Daniels throw all over this team and put up like 4 touchdowns. So I just think the Commanders put up way too many points, and the Cowboys offense with Cooper Rush cannot catch up. That's why I like the Commanders here. Player props, I'm going to start with the Cowboys. This was kind of the same thing about the Dolphins. I did not like any of the player props for the Cowboys at all. So I'm going to go CeeDee Lamb anytime touchdown at plus 175. He's the number one target. He's still getting peppered with targets. And the reason I like this is because we can still hit this in garbage time. The Commanders can be up by 3 touchdowns, and CeeDee can get a little touchdown that's wide open when the Commanders stop trying. So that's why I like this one. And then for the Commanders, I'm going to go Terry McLaurin over 4.5 receptions at plus 112. We're getting plus odds on this. I really like the odds here because he's gone over this in 54% of games this season. So over half his games, he's had 5 catches. And like I said, I think Jayden Daniels throws all over this team. And if he does, Terry McLaurin is going to benefit. Next game, Broncos versus Raiders. I'm taking the Broncos minus 5.5. I don't understand why this line is under a touchdown. Like, these teams are completely different. I get it's a division game. I totally understand it's an in-division game. But come on, guys. The Broncos are 8-3 against the spread. The Raiders are only 4-6. Denver only allows 16 points per game. 16. And the Raiders allow 28. And the coaching difference between Sean Payton and Antonio Pierce is just so drastically different. Like, it's not even funny how different it is. I think the Broncos smoke these guys. Player props, I'm going to take Bo Nix over 1.5 passing touchdowns at plus 130. One of my favorite bets of the day. We're getting plus money for Bo Nix to throw 2 touchdowns against this terrible Raiders defense when he's had 2 touchdowns in 3 of his last 5 games. I love that bet. For the Raiders, I'm going to go Amir Abdullah over 17.5 receiving yards at minus 115. So he is the starting running back for the Raiders because Zamir White and Madison are both out. The reason I picked the receiving yards is because the Broncos have a good defense, but one of the things they're not good at is guarding pass-catching running backs. They ranked 28th in the league in receiving yards allowed to running backs. All right, next game, 49ers versus Packers. I really wish that the 49ers were fully healthy. I think this would be a really good game. Sorry, guys. I think this would be a really good game if the 49ers were fully healthy, but they're not fully healthy. So I'm taking the Packers minus 5.5 at minus 110. Purdy is out. Nick Bosa's out. I think the Packers absolutely destroy this team. And San Francisco is only 1-3 against the spread on the road with a healthy team. 1-3 against the spread with a healthy team. Come on, guys. This is too easy. This is too easy. We're going to go Juwan Jennings over 4.5 receptions at plus 125. I don't think this should be plus money. I get that there's a backup quarterback, but Juwan Jennings has been the number one read on basically every play. He is the number one receiver for the 49ers right now, 100%. So he's going to get volume, and he's gone over this in 2 straight games. For the Packers, I'm going to take Jordan Love over 240.5 passing yards at minus 115. He's gone over this in 62% of games this season. Without Nick Bosa, he's going to have tons of time in the pocket to throw downfield shots. And I think this is a revenge spot for the Packers and Jordan Love after losing to the 49ers in the playoffs last year. I made Jordan Love my quarterback start of the week for fantasy. I think he has a huge game. Next game, Cardinals versus Seahawks. I'm actually really excited for this game because the Cardinals have really surprised me, and I'm happy. Like, I like Kyler Murray. He gets some flack. Like, people talk shit about him a little bit. I like him because I'm short too. I'm a short king just like him, so I like him. I'm gonna take Cardinals money line, bro. Cardinals money line at minus 105. The Cardinals are 7-3 against the spread. The Seahawks are only 3-6-1 against the spread. They have not been good against the spread, guys. And I know I'm taking money line, but it was basically a pick'em. It was like Cardinals -1 or +1. So that's what I mean against the spread. The Cardinals are also coming off a bye, while the Seahawks had a tough fought win against the division rival 49ers last week. They are going to be tired, have tired legs. The Cardinals are coming in, fresh legs, good defense. I think the Cardinals win this game by at least a touchdown. Player props, I'm going to take James Conner over 68.5 rushing yards at minus 115. The Seahawks rank 30th in the league in rushing yards allowed, and Conner is getting 16 carries per game this season. So I think he smashes this. For the Seahawks, I'm going to go Jackson Smith-Njigba over 58.5 receiving yards at minus 115. He's gone over in 3 straight games. He has looked good. Even when DK came back last week, he still had over 100 yards. I think him and Geno Smith have a connection now. And the Cardinals don't have a terrible secondary, but it's a little below average. So it's not a tough matchup at all. So I like JSN to continue to perform like he has been. All right, we got 2 more games left. Sunday night game, Eagles versus Rams. I will tell you, I am in the minority here. I am not going to take the Eagles. I am taking the Rams plus 3, man. A lot of people are taking the Eagles because I agree, the Eagles defense has looked really good. This is why I'm taking the Rams, though. This is a classic spot where Sean McVay just outcoaches the other coach. And Nick Sirianni is not a good coach. He's not. I'm sorry, Eagles fans. Nick Sirianni is not a good coach. Sean McVay is going to outcoach him. And this is a classic letdown spot for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts, coming off a huge in-division win, Monday night, primetime in LA. I just think this is a letdown spot for the Eagles, so I'm taking the Rams plus 3 at minus 120. I will admit, if you don't want to bet this, I get it. I am in the minority here. Player props. One of my favorite player props of the day, Dallas Goedert over 48.5 receiving yards at minus 130. Devontae Smith is not playing. Whenever Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown doesn't play, Goddard always goes off because he gets a lot of volume. So I think he's going to smash this line. And the Rams rank 28th in the league in receiving yards allowed to tight ends. So also a very good matchup. For the Rams, I'm going to go Kyren Williams over 16.5 receiving yards at minus 110. He's gone over in 3 of his last 4 games. And one weakness that the Eagles defense has is receiving yards to running backs. They rank 24th in the league in that aspect of the game. So good matchup for Kyren to get some receiving yards. And then last game, Ravens versus Chargers. I am a Chargers fan. I am a biased Chargers fan. That's why I usually don't like touching the spread on Chargers games because I'm a little bit biased. Unless the Chargers are playing like a bad team, like when we played the Titans a couple weeks ago, I took the Chargers with the spread. But usually I don't touch the spread. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take over the total of 50 points at minus 130. We took over the total last week when the Bengals played the Chargers and it easily hit. The Chargers have scored 26 or more points in 4 straight games. And we all know the Ravens offense is good. They average 30 points per game. I think this is another shootout for the Chargers. Player props, I'm going to take Lamar Jackson over 30.5 pass attempts at minus 115. He's gone over this in 54% of games this season. And if we are expecting a lot of points, there's going to be passing. So I think Lamar is going to pass a lot. And then Justin Herbert under 0.5 interceptions. So basically for him to not throw a pick at plus money, plus 105, also one of my favorite player props of the day. I don't understand why this is plus money. He hasn't thrown a pick in 8 straight games. The Ravens secondary is not good. Like, they're not a good defense. They're terrible. They're not a good defense at all. Like, back in the day, Ravens, I get it. But the Ravens defense has been getting torched by quarterbacks. So, one of my favorite player props of the day. All right. So those are all the games. Let me go through. If you guys don't want to bet all of the games, I'll give you my 3 best bets of the day. My 3 bets I basically think are going to hit the most. So if you guys want to just tail these, maybe put them in a parlay, whatever you want. So my first favorite bet of the day is going to be the Colts plus 7.5. I really do think the Colts have a chance of winning, but if not winning, they're going to keep it within a touchdown for sure. I like that. Next best bet, we're going to take the Buccaneers minus 5.5. I think the Buccaneers absolutely destroy the Giants here. And then last best bet, Broncos minus 5.5. Same thing. I think the Broncos absolutely destroy the Raiders. So best bets, Colts plus 7.5, Bucks minus 5.5, Broncos minus 5.5. So let's head over to some parlays now. Actually, let's head over to Underdog Fantasy. So basically what I do, the player props I gave you guys, whatever sportsbook you use, I do single bets for all of those. And I know it's a lot. You don't have to tail all of them. You can pick and choose whatever you want. But if you do tail all of them like I do, Like I bet all of these player props, but for example, like if I were to put $100 on the game bet, I would put like $10, $15 on a player prop. I'm not putting a full unit, because player props are tricky. So I do single bets, but when I parlay my player props, so I pick my favorite player props and I parlay them, I head over to Underdog Fantasy and I do all of my player props on Underdog Fantasy, whether it's NBA or NFL. If you are a first time user, go ahead and download the app and use my code CE2244, letter C, letter E, 2244 for a deposit match up to $1,000. Let's hop into it. So I'm going to give you guys basically my 4 favorite player props. You don't have to parlay these if you just want to only bet these in single bets, whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do. But if you're going to parlay them, go ahead and head over to Underdog Fantasy. So it's going to be a 4-player entry, 12.42 multiplier. So basically over 12 times your money for this entry. We're going to take Justin Herbert under 1 interception, Dallas Goedert over 48.5 receiving yards, Chase McLaughlin over 2.5 extra points made, and Jahmyr Gibbs over 89.5 rush plus receiving yards. So those are my 4 favorite player parlays or player props. If you parlay them on Underdog, this is what the payout would be. A $10 bet would win you $124. A $100 bet would win you $1,242, and a $1,000 bet would win you $12,420. So those are my four favorite player props. Go ahead and head over to Underdog Fantasy. So the last thing we're going to do, I'm going to give you guys some parlays with the game bets. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. We're just going to start with straight money line parlays. Okay, we're going to start with just a normal money line parlay. We're going to pick 3 favorites here. 3 favorites plus 173 odds. So basically, every $10 you put down, you win $17 back in profit. We're going to take the Bucks money line, the Broncos money line, and the Packers money line. Parlay those together, you get plus 173 odds. Okay? Next, we're going to head over to an underdog money line parlay. So these are 2 underdogs. The odds are amazing on this. It's a 2-team parlay. 2-team parlay at plus 850. So every $10 you bet, you get $85 just for 2 teams to win. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm taking the Colts money line. I think the Colts have a chance to win. And then the other one I'm going to take is the Bears money line. The Bears, I think, do have a chance to win this game. I think Sam Darnold goes in there and kind of shits the bed. I think he has a couple turnovers. I think the Bears defense does enough to win them the game. So Bears and Colts money line combined plus 850. I like that bet. Usually you don't get plus 850 with only 2 underdogs. I like it. Last thing we got to do, like always, we're going to do the teaser parlays, okay? For the people that don't know what a teaser parlay is, you pick all your spreads. So let's say you pick 3 spreads, you put them in a parlay and you tease them. So you get 6 points in your favor. So for example, the Colts plus 7.5, right? I took the Colts plus 7.5. You would get the Colts plus 13.5 in that parlay. Obviously, it's not the same odds as the parlay. You get a little less odds, but you're more likely to hit it. So that's what a teaser parlay is. I have 2 teaser parlays. I have an underdog one and a favorite one. I'll go ahead and start with the favorite one first, picking all the favorites. So we're going to have the Bucks, the Dolphins, the Texans, and the Commanders. 4-team teaser parlay plus 260. So every $10 you put down, you get $26 in profit. We're going to take the Bucks to just win the game straight up. The Dolphins -1, so they'd have to win by 2 or more. The Texans -1.5, so they have to win by 2 or more. And the Commanders -4.5, they have to win by 5 or more. If all 4 of those things happen in that parlay, you get plus 260 odds. The next one, we're going to take the underdogs. Same thing, 4-team parlay, plus 260 odds. We're going to bring the Colts up to plus 13, the Bears up to plus 9, the Rams up to plus 8.5, and the Panthers up to plus 16.5. So you get some wiggle room with these lines in the teaser parlay, plus 260 odds for all of those. So that is the betting preview for Week 12. I'm sorry if I talked fast, but I'm trying to go to bed so I can get like a couple hours of sleep before these games start because I still have to edit it, post it. You know how it is. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'm definitely going to post. You're going to have plenty of time. I'm going to post this by before 7 o'clock Pacific time. So you have 3 hours before the game starts. So you're going to have plenty of time to watch this. Feel free to ask any questions. I'm going to set an alarm for like 9:45 so I can wake up before the games. But yeah, that is it, guys. Like always, go ahead and follow me on TikTok because there's going to be some weeks where I don't have time to put this on YouTube or put it in my podcast feed, but I'm always posting my bets on TikTok. So go ahead and follow me there. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I love all of you.